Okay, so there are two possible directions they could approach Area 20 from. Either from the hungry rust monsters, which is called dust monsters for some reason, and or from all the way over at the Goblin Bazaar down here, Area 8. If you remember the Frosco Hall, over here we had our priestess Shanshareth up here, Copperbeard over here, and then in the unlikely event they go south, they end up going all the way around everything, which is not really advisable. And then they might miss it again. So yeah, but then if they turn left, take a left here, then they'll get there. And they can obviously find out this layout of the map from Rizarol. Okay, and also possibly, yeah, the goblins might not know it, but Rizarol will, and also any of the NPCs that have gone this far. Okay, let's start reading the description of Area 20. Deadeye's Watch Post. The Xanathar Guild forces stationed here include 5 human thugs, 8 bugbears, and their leader Nadia the Unbent. A beholder zombie provides added security. A beholder zombie floats near the 20-foot high ceiling of this chamber, out of melee range. Painted in white around its central eye is a circle with 10 equidistant spokes radiating outward from its circumference. The Xanathar symbol. Sounds of mock battle emanate from the tunnel to the west, leading to 20B. The beholder zombie attacks anyone who enters the room without brandishing or wearing the symbol of Xanathar. Combat in this room brings reinforcements from Area 20B. Area 20B. Watch Post Barracks. Unless they are drawn to Area 20A by sounds of combat, the following creatures are training here. A 7-foot tall, powerfully built woman with shaggy black hair and pale skin named Nadia the Unbent. Nadia the Unbent, neutral evil female Eluskan berserker. 5 human thugs, 3 women and 2 men, and 5 bugbears. Painted in blood on the middle of the floor is a 10-foot diameter circle with 10 equidistant spokes extending outward from its circumference, Xanathar symbol. 15 leather hammocks are hooked to stone brackets that protrude from the walls at regular intervals. A secret door in the west wall leads to Area 20C. If she's here, Nadia the Unbent stands in the middle of the bloody circle, armed with a 10-foot pole, and is using it to knock about her underlings in a contest to see who, if anyone, can push her out of the circle. Nadia relishes any opportunity to fight and kill, and she hurls herself and her forces into battle without a second thought. Now, 20C. Arcane Gate to level 6. This hallway has 3 alcoves. The 2 southernmost alcoves contain secret doors to Area 20B and 20D, respectively. The alcove to the north has an arch embedded in its back wall. Carved into the arch's keystone is an image of a rust monster. The arch is one of Hallister's magic gates. The Xanathar Guild forces nearby are aware of the gate but don't know how to activate it. Its rules are as follows. Touching the arch with a non-magical item made entirely of ferrous metal, such as an iron spike, reduces the item to powdered rust and opens the gate for 1 minute. Characters must be 9th level or higher to pass through this gate. The first creature to pass through the gate triggers an Elder Rune. A creature that passes through the gate appears in Area 24 on level 6, in the closest unoccupied space next to the identical gate located there. 20D, Secret Armory. This 20-foot high room is hidden behind a secret door and contains the following. 3 bugbears have broken away from the main group in Area 20B to search this room for treasure. They have worked their way to the east end of the room and aren't expecting trouble. Weapon and armor racks stand like library bookshelves in the middle of the room with dusty, web-filled aisles between them. Sharpening wheel. Half embedded in the floor in the middle of the room is a 1 foot thick, 6 foot diameter stone sharpening wheel. A stone pedal next to the wheel causes it to turn when stepped on. One of the bugbears is rummaging through a collection of dwarven morning stars and casting undesirable ones onto the floor. The other two are fighting over a rusty shield embossed with a symbol resembling a stylized goblin skull. The room contains dozens of suits of plate armor, scale armor, and chainmail, as well as scores of shields, battle axes, morning stars, war hammers, war picks, and javelins. Most of these items have deteriorated to the point of being useless and irreparable. Rust has eaten away the metal, and dampness has rotted the leather straps and bindings on the shields and armor. Now, from the companion about Area 21, we read the following. Wood groans like an old man, and out from the gloom lumber 2 animated ballistae on hinged legs. Almost like mouths, they rack back their bolts, and fire kindles as if it were the maw of some small hell. See Animated Ballistae in Appendix B of the supplement for a more concise portrayal of statistics. Okay, so that's down here, Area 21. This is where they start from. Now, in the module we read, the arched 30-foot-high ceiling of this long hall is studded with glowing red crystals that cast dim light throughout the hall. Crystals pried out of their fixtures go dark. Parked in front of the door to Area 22A are 2 animated ballista. Each animated ballista is a large wood and iron construct with an AC 15, 50 hit points, a walking speed of 30 feet, immunity to poison damage, and the following ability scores: Strength 14, Dexterity 10, Constitution 10, Intelligence 3, Wisdom 3, and Charisma 1. It has blind sight out to a range of 120 feet and is blind beyond this distance. It can't be blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, or poisoned, and it can't right itself if knocked prone. As an action, it can fire a magic bolt of fire, plus 6 to hit, at a target it can perceive, dealing 16 3d10 fire damage on a hit. But it can't attack any creature directly above it. Treat each ballista as a monster with a challenge rating of 2. The ballista can't perceive, and thus they ignore creatures that keep to the easternmost 60-foot section of the hallway. Once they detect intruders, however, the ballista amble forward on hinged legs to close the distance. If a ballista has nothing to attack on its turn, it returns to its starting position. All right, Area 22A and 22B and 22C. Here we go. In the companion, we read, Garrux's Brewery. Only one creature inhabits the brewery, a beholder zombie. The complex is otherwise empty. However, you can add 2d6 plus 2 dwarf skeletons who otherwise continue to brew ale as they did in life. Alistair could conjure hops and other necessary ingredients. However, most barrels are beyond disrepair, and the dwarves merely brew ale just for it to leak out of faulty casks. The skeletons remain passive unless attacked, or their equipment and ale is stolen. Okay, back to the module. We read in 22A, first about the area overall. This complex was built by a dwarf named Garrux, who served as master of ale and provisions for the Malarkan dwarves. 22A, ale dispenser. A stone pillar in the middle of the room has a ring of 6 copper spigots jutting out of it, 3 feet above the floor. Bas reliefs. Carved into the walls are 20 bas reliefs depicting drunken dwarves in different poses. One hand of each dwarf protrudes from the wall. 3 of these hands grasp copper tankards. The stone pillar has copper pipes running through it. These pipes connect to the vats in Area 22C. When the brewery was operational, dwarves could draw ale from the pillar into tankards to quench their thirst. Nothing happens if 5 of the 6 spigots are turned. Turning the 6th spigot causes a patch of green slime. See Dungeon Hazards in Chapter 5 of the Dungeon Master's Guide to pour out of it. There used to be 20 copper tankards secured to the wall carvings, but most of them have vanished over the years. One can be found in Area 14B. The 3 remaining tankards are worth 5 gold pieces each. 22B. Brewers only. Now let's read from the companion first. When the adventurers enter this room, a spell laid by Alistair can activate. Speaking to them, read. A voice whispers from the lintel above the door, the voice of the Mad Mage himself. The dwarves rejoiced in these halls, busied themselves with ale and dreams. Then I came, and all would be mine. Everything below the mountain is mine, even you. Okay, now let's read from the module. Nestled between areas 22A and 22C is a 10-foot high, 10-foot square room. A brass plaque bolted to the western door has the following words stamped into it in Dwarvish. Brewers only, others keep out, by order of Garrux, master of ale and provisions. 22C, ale vats. 6 stone vats, arranged in 2 rows of 3, dominate this 20-foot high room. The double door in the west wall has stacks of old barrels on both sides of it. The doors are painted with images of 2 dwarves in profile facing each other while standing on sideways barrels. The Malarkan dwarves store ale in these vats. Each vat is a hollow, slightly bulging stone cylinder 10 feet high and 10 feet in diameter, with 6-inch thick walls. The copper spigot is embedded in the vats on the side facing the nearest wall, at a height of 3 feet. A narrow stone staircase curls up the exterior of each vat to the top, which is fitted with a hinged copper lid. The vats' interiors are lined with copper and have a pipe at the bottom that runs under the floor to the ale dispenser in Area 22A. 4 of the vats are empty, their contents having long since evaporated or been depleted. Southwest vat contains a beholder zombie which rises out of the vat and attacks if disturbed. There are 3 empty barrels, all made of iron-banded zirkwood, a woody fungus. Most are in such poor condition that they can no longer hold liquids without leaking, but clever characters can use them to safely avoid the pit traps in Area 22D. Okay, let's see if did I miss anything in the companion. 22C has the following to read to the players. Most of the vats lie empty, whatever brew they once held having long since evaporated. But as you inspect those that still hold ale, you feel the attention of something. The Mad Mage, perhaps, scrying on you? You look about the gloom and find nothing. Returning your attention to the vat, something plops in the water. Before you can even pull back, the fetid waters rush as a fanged maw opens beneath the surface, and out from the depths rises a beholder's corpse. Ancient ale and foul water falls from its rotten flesh in a shower as it smiles at you hungrily. Yuck. Okay. Area 22D. From the companion, we read, in the highly unlikely event that the entire party is trapped in the pit traps without thieves' tools or the magic needed to escape, consider the following. Destruction. The pit lids have an AC of 15, a damage threshold of 5, immunity to poison and psychic damage, resistance to piercing and slashing damage, and 25 hit points. Or, at the start of every day, roll a d20. On a roll of 11 to 20, a chaotic neutral adventuring party stumbles across the area, activating the pit traps. On a roll of 16 to 20, they They too actually have the means to escape, thieves' tools or the knock spell at their disposal. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now let's read from the module 22D. Beyond a 10-foot landing, this hall gradually slopes down towards the west. Secret doors at the west end of the hall open into area 22E and 22F, respectively. Dwarves used to fill barrels of ale and roll them down this hall to be stored in secret chambers. The Malarkan dwarves built three 20-foot deep pits in a sloped floor to guard their ale supplies. The pit's covers blend in with the surrounding floor, though a successful DC 15 perception check detects each pit. When a creature weighing 50 pounds or more steps on a pit's cover, it swings open like a trapdoor, causing the creature to spill into the pit below and take 2d6 bludgeoning damage from the fall. The lid is spring-loaded and snaps closed after the creature falls through. A successful DC 20 strength check is necessary to pry the lid open. The character in the pit can also attempt to disable the spring mechanism from the inside with a successful DC 15 dexterity check using thieves' tools, provided that the mechanism can be reached and the character can see in the dark. Wedging at least 2 iron spikes between the pit's lid and the surrounding floor prevents the lid from opening, thereby making it safe to cross. The lid can also be magically held shut with an arcane lock spell or similar magic. The dwarves constructed the pit covers so that they won't open if an object is rolled over them. The character can circumvent the traps by climbing into an empty barrel and rolling down the hall, or climbing onto a barrel and balancing atop it as it rolls down the hall. Balancing atop a barrel as it careens down the hall requires a successful DC 20 dexterity acrobatics check. 22E, North Ale Storage. This chamber is hidden behind a secret door. The room's walls climb 10 feet, then angle inward to form a pyramidal cap with a 30-foot-high apex. Stacked in the middle of the room are 140 zirkwood barrels banded in iron. The barrels form a 21-foot-high pyramid with a base measuring 7 barrels on a side. Engraved on the lid of each barrel is a magical glyph that radiates an aura of abjuration magic under the scrutiny of a detect magic spell. Each barrel contains 40 gallons of dwarven ale that has been magically preserved for centuries. Removing a barrel's lid or breaking the barrel causes its glyph to fade away, ending the preservation spell on that barrel. If the ale is marketed as Malarkan Ale, Undermountain Ale, or something similar, characters can sell a barrel of it for 40 gold pieces in Waterdeep. A full barrel of ale weighs approximately 400 pounds. 22F. South Ale Storage. This room is identical to Area 22E, except the pyramid of barrels has collapsed. Most of the barrels lie smashed on the floor. 59 of them remain intact. They are well preserved. Another 3 appear to be intact but are in fact 3 mimics placed here by Halaster. The 3 hide within 10 feet of one another and fight together. 23. Okay, let's go find where is 23. Ah, yes, down here. Okay. So if they follow the tunnel down here and they don't go down to level 3, then they get to 23A here. These rooms once formed a temple dedicated to the dwarven god Dumathoin, keeper of secrets under the mountain, but Halaster has destroyed and replaced most of their original contents. 23A, Defaced Dwarves. The walls climb 15 feet, then angle inward to create a peaked 30-foot-high ceiling. The sloped upper walls have red glowing crystals set into them. These crystals fill the hall with a dim light. Crystals pried out of their fixtures go dark. Carvings. The lower walls were once lined with carvings depicting dwarfs pushing minecarts toward the west, but these works have been defaced and in some cases replaced with stony tentacles that protrude from the walls. A 20-foot tall double door stands closed at the west end of the hall. Carved into the walls flanking the double door stand armored dwarves, their stony beards flowing out of great helms and that conceal their facial features. Alistair used magic to distort the wall carvings almost beyond recognition and to create tentacle-like protrusions that weren't part of the original design. These tentacles writhe as creatures pass them, a harmless effect created by the Mad Mage. 23p. Hall of Dead Dragons. The 30-foot high vaulted ceiling of this room is supported every 20 feet or so by thick stone arches. Standing in the hall are skeletons of 4 huge dragons, their bones held together by wire and cement. A few pieces of each dragon have broken off and fallen to the floor. A 5th dragon skeleton in a similar state of disrepair fills an alcove to the south. This hall contains the posed, inanimate skeletons of 5 adult dragons, one each of brass, bronze, copper, gold, and silver. The gold dragon skeleton occupies the southern alcove, while the others are lined up in the main hall. The skeletons are harmless. Okay, area 24. 24, there it is, okay? Area 24. What was once a dwarven shrine is now the tomb of a long-dead adventurer. Splayed across a broken stone bench in the middle of the room are the skeletal remains of a tiefling clad in rotted leather armor. The skeleton clutches a quarterstaff that has become brittle with age. The tattered backpack contains adventuring gear that has rotted or rusted away. Casting a Speak with Dead spell on the skeleton reveals that the tiefling, Savir, was a monk who fell prey to a cloaker. Savir's spirit doesn't know what became of his adventuring companions or the cloaker. If questioned about Undermountain, Savir's spirit reveals that there's an elven tomb nearby with a secret door in the north wall that neither he nor his companions could open. The spirit is referring to Area 26A, but doesn't remember how to get there. All right, let's read what they say in the companion about Area 25. Let's go find it on the map first. Area 25 is over here. 25A, B, C, D, towards the right here. Okay, in the companion, we read, Mist chokes these chambers off. Mist chokes these chambers. Off in the distance, you hear metal striking stone. Slow, methodical, perfectly consistent. As you approach, you catch sight of a cuboid contraption with spindly limbs marching in a counterclockwise circle. Halastron. Your players are sure to gawk at the Modron. Modron, only to be disappointed when they learn it can't speak common. Unless an adventurer has the comprehend languages spell, allow Halastron the ability to converse in the broken common he's learned from the Mad Mage. If you do so, he is fond of the phrases above, and he uses them at the most inappropriate times, as the Modron is still learning mortal social cues and behavior. Every encounter with an adventure is another opportunity to expand its vocabulary. Halastron also openly explains its directive assigned by the Mad Mage, as outlined in his description in Area 25A. Okay, let's go on. Okay, then there are these lifelike statues that are going to come up soon that we'll read about in the module. For the sake of brevity, the statistics of the petrified creatures have not been included in the supplement, unlike other monsters and NPCs found on level 2. It's also unlikely that the adventurers have the means to transport a statue without severely exerting themselves. The Mad Mage relies on a spell of telekinesis, after all. Even the smallest statue could weigh hundreds of pounds. In the event that the adventurers do try to move a statue manually, it requires a combined strength score of 40 or higher. After moving a statue, each character must make a DC 20 Constitution saving throw or gain 1 level of exhaustion. The DC is lowered by 2 for every character that aids in transport, up to a maximum reduction of 8. As described in the Hallister's Game supplement, the creature storage serves as a great way to introduce new player characters to the campaign should any of the original party members die or disappear. Okay, now let's read from the. Actually, I feel like fetching my adventurers to light up this part of the map. Okay, now reading from the module. Hallister uses these chambers as a storage facility for creatures that he has captured and petrified. He restores them to flesh using the elven magic in Area 25A. Now, in Area 25A, Caryatids of Restoration. Supporting the 20-foot-high ceiling are 4 pillars of white marble, each shaped in the likeness of a stoic female elf, in flowing robes with a flowering branch clutched to her chest. The caryatids face inward. Circling the caryatids counterclockwise is a quadrone. It looks like this. With its bow at the ready, it makes clicking and clacking noises as it walks. The walls are carved with bas relief of unicorns and bare-branched trees. A detect magic spell reveals an aura of abjuration magic around the pillars. Touching a pillar while speaking the proper command phrase, elf magic, causes a pale light to fill the area between the 4 pillars, ending the following conditions on a creature in that area: blinded, deafened, petrified, poisoned, and stunned. This magical effect can be activated 4 times, once for each pillar touched. The pillars regain their magic at the next dawn. The caryatids lose their magic if even one is destroyed or toppled. The caryatid has AC 17, 90 hit points, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. It can be toppled with a successful DC 30 Strength Athletics check. Hallister found this rogue Modron. He decided to adopt it and gave it a name, Hallistron. The Modron considers Hallister its friend and follows his orders to the best of its ability. Its orders are as follows: remember its name, defend itself, attack anything that tries to damage or topple the caryatids, walk in a counterclockwise circle around the caryatids when not defending itself or the pillars. The quadrone speaks and understands the Modron language only. It knows that the caryatids can restore petrified creatures to flesh, having seen them in action, and it has heard Hallister speak the command phrase to activate the caryatids. Its instructions don't prevent it from communicating with strangers or sharing information with them. It knows almost nothing about Undermountain and it disintegrates if reduced to 0 hit points. 20 areas 25B to 25R, lifelike statues. Stored here are creatures that have been turned to stone by Hallister, as summarized in the Petrified Creatures table. Each can be restored to flesh with a greater restoration spell or similar magic. A restored creature acts in accordance with its nature. For example, the Grick in Area 25B is likely to attack all other creatures out of hunger. When Hallister wants to restore a petrified creature to flesh, he uses a telekinesis spell to transport it to Area 25A, then relies on the magic of the pillars there. This room, 25H, this room is hidden behind a secret door and contains a lifelike statue of Hallister. That's here. Casting a greater restoration spell on the statue or subjecting it to the magic of the caryatids in Area 25A triggers a magic mouth spell cast on the statue that says, "Fools!" Area 25M. If you expand the dungeon to the south, an illusory wall behind the petrified mind flare conceals a tunnel beyond. Here, I guess. The illusory wall has no substance, allowing creatures to pass right through it. The petrified we're at is 25R. Looks like a statue of a wiry young man grasping a short sword. This Weirrat is not part of Rizarul's gang, see Area 14, but tries to join it if given the chance. His name is Zarn Kazafax. Okay, and then there's a list of the petrified creatures in each area. 4 bullywugs, 3 gricks, 2 drow, 4 rust monsters, 5 troglodytes, 6 goats, 1 boar, 1 constrictor snake, 1 kenku, 1 lizard folk, 1 mind flayer, 1 nothic, 1 orc war chief, 1 giant badger, 1 quaggoth, and 1 weirrat in human form, which we just described. Then is area 26. Let's see what they have in the module for us. In the companion. First, we read to the players, unnatural mist roils in these ancient chambers, bucking and drifting between long forgotten sarcophagi. It's cold, and in the immediate distance, beasts slaver and rage at their lot in this pitiful life. The 2 owlbears here attack immediately, but while the first charges out of the mist, the other skulks between sarcophagi, emerging to strike at the flank of the adventurers. Okay, so sorry, let's move over to the map there, to area 26. Here we go. Okay, so the owlbears are in here. Okay, the companion continues. I am Root. Trust that your players are going to want their own awakened shrub, now, not later. Consider changing it so that someone, a previous adventuring party perhaps, planted a shrub in the pot of awakening 30 days ago, and now the awakened shrub is about to be born. Dollars to donuts, your players will name it Root or Groot. An awakened shrub speaks one language known by its creator, common, in this case. For maximum comedy, disallow the shrub from saying anything but its name, though the adventurers can discern certain meanings from that single phrase. Much like a beloved character from an insanely popular movie franchise, play. Okay, now let's read from the module. Area 26A, B, and C. First, overall, we read Ancient Elven Tomb. These chambers are much older than the dwarf-hewn chambers that surround them, as evidenced by the crumbling walls, the slanted floors, and the thin streams of dust pouring down through cracks in the sagging ceiling. Alistair converted this tomb for the elven dead into a series of test chambers that now lie abandoned. 2 owlbears, left here by Alistair, are hungry and attack anything that enters this room. A dozen elven sarcophagi, arranged about this dusty room, have been reduced to rubble. Time and neglect have all but destroyed wall carvings that depict elves mounted on elk, parading through a forest as the seasons change around them. A secret door in the north wall leads to Area 26B. Characters who search the room for treasure find a 10-pound clay pot lying amid some rubble near the south wall. The pot is painted with images of a barefooted elf druid leading a march of small, uprooted shrubs that seem to be walking of their own accord. A detect magic spell reveals an aura of transmutation magic around the pot, which is a common, wondrous magic item called a pot of awakening. If one plants an ordinary shrub in the pot and lets it grow for 30 days, the shrub magically transforms into an awakened shrub at the end of that time. When the shrub awakens, its roots break the pot, destroying it. The awakened shrub is friendly toward whoever planted it. Absent command from its creator, it does nothing. Okay, and then the companion has a much more fun alternative version of that. Okay, then 26B is the secret tomb. In the middle of the dusty tomb rests a 7,500-pound alabaster sarcophagus atop a 1-foot-high block of granite. The lid of the sarcophagus is carved in the likeness of a regal elf of indeterminate age and gender, with a yawning cat stretching on the elf's chest. The cat is part of the lid's carving, not a separate sculpture. The character who inspects the sarcophagus closely and succeeds on a DC 17 Wisdom Perception check realizes that it's a solid block of alabaster with a fake lid carved to appear openable. A false tomb built to confound would-be treasure hunters. 26C, Halaster's Crushing Eye. 3 stone tables lie strewn about the room, surrounded by ceramic shards that were once funerary urns. The owlbears in Area 26A are responsible for the destruction. A 10-foot wide, 10-foot high hallway to the south slopes gently upward to Area 26D and contains a rolling sphere trap. A 10-foot square section of the floor marked X on the map 2 is a pressure plate. Yeah, that's over here. When 20 or more pounds of pressure depress this plate, a 10-foot diameter stone sphere painted to look like a bloodshot eyeball careens from an alcove at the top of the sloped hallway and down the passage toward Area 26C. With a successful DC 20 Wisdom Perception check, a character searching the hall for traps can spot the pressure plate. Wedging 4 or more iron spikes or similar objects under the pressure plate prevents the trap from activating. When the sphere is released, all creatures present roll initiative, and the sphere rolls initiative with a +8 bonus. On its turn, it moves with a straight line until it reaches a corner, then changes direction to follow the slope tunnel until it comes to rest in Area 26C. The sphere can move through other creatures' spaces, and creatures can move through its space, treating it as difficult terrain. Whenever the sphere enters a creature's space or a creature enters its space while the sphere is rolling, the creature must succeed DC 15 dexterity saving throw or take 55 to 10d10 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. A creature within 5 feet of the sphere can attempt to slow it down by using an action to make a DC 20 strength check. On a successful check, the sphere's speed is reduced by 15 feet. In the sloped hallway, this reduction lasts only until the end of the sphere's next turn. If the sphere's speed drops to 0 on a flat surface, it stops moving and is no longer a threat. 26D, Bloodletting Chamber. The 10-foot high room holds a row of 6 slanted stone tables intended for ritualistic bloodletting. Each table is fitted with rusty shackles and leather straps. Under the lower end of each table, set into the floor, is a shallow circular stone basin for collecting blood. 26E, Abandoned Study. The lid of a stone sarcophagus rests atop 2 misshapen blocks of stone, creating a makeshift desk at the south end of the room. Behind it is a high-backed chair made of charred wood that has 1 armrest missing. Beyond the desk and chair, dusty books are crammed into niches in the south wall. Similar niches in the other walls contain tall alabaster funerary urns covered with dust and cobwebs, 17 in all. The alabaster urns are cracked, chipped, and worthless. They contain nothing but dust, for the most part. Buried in the dust inside one of the urns is a tiny white pouch containing dust of disappearance. The books cover the subjects of alchemy, dwarven and elven history, engineering, gemcraft, the study of monstrosities, and weather prediction. All of them are falling apart, but stuffed among the mundane tomes is a badly burned wizard spellbook that still contains the following spells: Comprehend Languages, Crown of Madness, Dark Vision, Gaseous Form, Ray of Sickness, Remove Curse, Tensor's Floating Disk, and Unseen Servant.
We hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our new videos to level up your campaign. Special thanks to Wyatt Troll for writing his amazing companion, available at dmsguild.com, which this video is based on. We strongly recommend getting the complete edition. We couldn't imagine running any of the campaign without it.